Let's dive right in. Today, we are looking at a really fascinating puzzle in the casinos and gaming sector. Think about it. How on earth do you take wildly different sustainability numbers and turn them into a fair apples-to-apples comparison? If you've ever looked at a company's ESG data and felt like you were only getting half the story, well, you're in exactly the right place. We're going to see how industry standards crack this code in this explainer.
The problem with raw data. To figure this out, we actually need to start with why context matters so much.
So, imagine you're an ESG investor, right? Or maybe a sustainability manager, and you need to evaluate two completely different facilities. On one hand, you've got this sprawling 24-hour mega resort in Las Vegas, and on the other, a small riverboat casino. How do we actually compare them fairly without the raw numbers totally misleading us? Because if we just look at the raw data for a required disclosure, like total energy consumed in gigajoules, the picture is completely skewed. Naturally, Casino A, the mega resort, is going to show massive consumption compared to that tiny riverboat. If we stop there, the resort looks terrible. But this absolute number absolutely punishes scale. A massive building just inherently needs way more heating, cooling, and lighting than a small one. It's just common sense.
Enter SASB activity metrics. This is where we start normalizing the data. To fix this exact analytical problem and get that crucial missing context, we turn to the SASB standards. Quick foundational note here. Since August 2022, the ISSB has assumed responsibility for these standards, and they give us very specific tools to standardize reporting across 77 different industries, which, of course, includes casinos and gaming.
So the really crucial point here is this definition. Activity metrics quantify the scale of specific activities to normalize data and facilitate comparison. In plain English, they're the vital denominators to our raw data numerators. They give the numbers meaning.
The 4 key denominators. Let's break down exactly what these are for the casinos and gaming industry.
The standards give us 4 distinct activity metrics to use as these denominators. We're looking at SV-CA-000.A for the number of tables, B for slots, C for active online customers, and D for the total gaming floor area. Let's look at what actually counts for each of these. The first two are pretty straightforward, honestly. They simply and directly count the physical assets driving the business, tables and slots. It's a highly effective way to measure sheer gaming capacity, completely independent of the building's actual size. But when we look at the digital side, the definition of an active online customer is really fascinating. The standard is incredibly strict here. A customer must have made at least one financial transaction, we're talking a bet, a deposit, or a withdrawal, during the reporting period. So no, you can't just count an inactive email list. This ensures we are measuring actual revenue-generating scale. Finally, we have the spatial denominator, which measures the total area of the gaming floor in square meters. Notice that this is strictly the establishment used primarily for gaming. It totally excludes adjacent hotels or restaurants, so we're only measuring the actual gambling operations. Normalizing the data. This is where we create that much-needed context. Okay, now we get to the fun part, actually applying these denominators. If you look at the primary sustainability disclosures for this industry, things like energy management, responsible gaming, or smoke-free areas, you quickly realize almost all of these absolute metrics need context. Whether it's gigajoules of energy or smoking floor percentages, these activity metrics are what give those raw numbers their actual meaning. Let's just walk through the math together using our energy example. Step 1, take your raw energy consumed. Step 2, pull your activity metric, like total gaming floor area. Step 3, just divide the energy by the area. And what you're left with is your standardized energy intensity, basically your energy consumed per square meter. A level playing field. Let's see how this helps us compare fairly. Now let's look at what happens to our mega resort and our riverboat when we actually apply this equation. Suddenly the playing field is completely level. When we chart their normalized energy consumed per square meter, that massive gap just disappears. It turns out they might actually have the exact same energy efficiency proportionally. The mega resort isn't necessarily wasteful at all. It's just big. And without our spatial denominator, we literally never would have seen that reality. As the SASB standard explicitly states, these activity metrics are the vital companion to performance metrics. You just cannot effectively analyze performance using raw data alone. You need the context of tables, slots, users, or square meters. Because in sustainability, just like in business, context is absolutely everything. So I'll leave you with this to ponder. If you're relying on absolute numbers, you're only seeing a fraction of the picture. How might standardizing your own data completely change the story your operations are telling? What hidden inefficiencies are just waiting to be uncovered once you apply the right context?